Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
Z Garcia, what's happening, folks?
Sam Healy, hello everyone.
This is apparently
Got a
the
little leak.
snake episode.
Got a little leak in them.
All right, today we're taking a look at a pretty small game here, Seven Wonders Duel. When I first heard about Seven Wonders Duel, I kind of thought, a dual version of the game Seven Wonders. Seemed pretty obvious. They make a lot of dual versions. I remember them making a dual version of Pillars of the Earth and
That's right.
different games like that. And then I had a chance to play it, and let me show you how it plays first, then we'll be back. In Seven Wonders Duel, there are 3 ways to win. You'll notice there's a military track here. Whenever you take a military card, it will have a certain number of military symbols on it, and you will push the track that far towards your opponent. Now, if it ever gets to the end of your opponent, you automatically win the game. So you have to keep a watch on that. Also, as it hits different tiles down here, your opponent will have to lose money when it hits those, and you'll get points at the end of the game if the game doesn't end from military based on where this is. The other way to automatically win is throughout the game there are different science cards with science symbols on, or there's like one here on this disc here, law. There are 7 different symbols scattered throughout the game. If you ever control 6 of those symbols, you automatically win the game. Finally, the way that many games will end is after the 3rd age, you'll simply add up all the points that your cards give you, points for this track, points on the cards. Like you'll notice this card here is worth 3 points. Whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. In each age of the game, players are going to be taking turns back and forth. At the very beginning of the game, they're going to get some wonder cards that you're going to be drafting. Each player is going to end up with 4 wonders, and you'll have a chance to build wonders over the course of the game, although only 7 wonders can be built. So one player is only going to get to build 3 of them. On your turn, you're going to pick a card that you can pick up without knocking over other cards. So I could pick up any card in the bottom row. Let's say I chose this card. And then my opponent might choose this one, which would then flip this one over. Now I can pick this one, this one, this one, this one, or this one. And so as you move along farther in the pyramid, you have more cards to choose from. When you choose a card, there's different things you can do with it. You can discard it to get 2 coins plus 1 coin for every yellow card you have face up in front of you. So at the beginning of the game, 2 coins. Another one is you can use it to build a wonder. So you would discard the card, pick one of the wonders that you have, and build that wonder. Or you can build the card yourself. Now some cards, like this one here, have no cost on the sides. You just place those for free. Other cards have a cost here. This one here costs 2 coins, so I'd pay the money, and if I had it, to pay for that. Some of them require different building resources. Like this one here needs paper to build, so I would need a card in front of me with paper. If I don't have that card in front of me, then I have to pay 2 coins to the bank, plus 1 for each paper icon that my opponent has. So I would need to hopefully have this card here in front of me, which would give me paper to be able to build that as time goes by. Some of the cards, when you build them, give you money. Some of the cards give you resources, like this one. Some of them give you victory points. Some of them give you science. And others give you special abilities, like this one here lets you buy stone always for 1 coin, which makes it a whole lot cheaper. When you build a Wonder of the World, it's the same thing. You'll look at the different resources. So I need 3 brick and 1 of that resource. And so if I don't have those 4 resources, again, I'll have to pay money. But the benefits here of building it are great. Lets me move 2 in the military track and gives me 3 victory points. So the Wonders of the World will do different things. As time goes by, you also will have a chance to get these tokens over here. And as you get these tokens, they will also give you special abilities. Once all the cards have been drafted and taken for whatever reason in the first era, then the second era begins. You'll notice that it's kind of in a reverse pyramid shape here. I also want to point out that there are some buildings, like this building here, this science building, which has a science symbol and worth 2 points, requires 3 resources to build, or requires you to have a kind of a prerequisite building, which, for example, in this case, is a scriptorium. If I have the scriptorium in play, which has that same symbol, I can build this one for free. And again, as you build buildings in this one, you will open things up and more symbols and more cards will reveal themselves. As you go into the second era, there's more resources on the cards. The science cards, the military cards move too. Then you move to the third era. So you'll see in the third era, there's even a different way to set these up. It's not hard to remember. There's a sheet that shows you how each of the different eras is set up. In the third era, you have some random guild cards. 3 of them are shuffled in. And I should mention that in every era, there's always going to be 3 cards removed from that era and taken out, so you're never quite sure of what cards. And again, in the third era, things get even better, where there are more points. The 7th science symbols show up, so if you're going to win with science, you're going to want to get the cards here. The military gets ferocious, and there's just a lot of points available, especially with these guild cards here when they show up, because they can give you points and money based on the different cards that you have in your area. So once these are done, if no one has won through military and science methods, then one person wins the game completely. Well, I think it's safe to say that this is not just the game for 2 players. This is a very different game. It has a lot of the same concepts if I was teaching it to someone who played Seven Wonders.
That would make your job easier, but it would not do that job for you.
No.
Because this game is certainly not just Seven Wonders in some slightly tweaked 2-player variant. I mean, Seven Wonders plays 2 players with a slightly tweaked 2-player variant out of that box. But this is a completely different game, ultimately. And one which both simplifies some things and makes other things more strategically interesting. It actually does both things, which I really like. I like, for example, the upgrade powers, where the free purchase things, where having one card gives you a free one later on. I like that in this game that's simplified to an icon.
Yeah.
And that is real quick to pick up on. You can just quickly scan what's in front of you. Do I have that little gear symbol or that little pillar symbol? Boom, there it is. This is free for me. Bam.
I think they took the spirit of Seven Wonders and put it into a 2-player package.
Right.
And they used similar, although not the same mechanics.
Right.
Because the pyramid with the cards is still a drafting mechanism, but it's not exactly the same as the original drafting mechanism.
Right.
But it still has that spirit. It still has that feel. And I think that's one of the things that's best about this.
What do you guys think about the drafting, since you brought it up in this game, with the different pyramids or the...
I really like the drafting. I think it's ingenious that you have to be careful what you draft and make available to your opponent. In most drafting games, you can keep 1 card from your opponent. In this game, you could actually keep multiple cards from your opponent, depending on what you pick up that then reveals something underneath it, whether it's already face up or not, whatever. And so I think that's interesting. Finding the groove in which you're forcing your opponent to make new options available to you is a big part of this game.
I'd like to ask the question, the old chicken egg question, which came first, because that same mechanism is used in Guns and Steel, that game that came across from Japan, I think it was. And
this came out before that.
This did come out before that.
This was in development. This has been in development for over a year.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure we've had that game for longer than that.
No, it was.
Sure?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
It just feels like it.
No, it just.
This may have. I think I've seen things before though, where things revealed before.
Yeah, I mean.
Right. I just don't.
The clicky mahjong game, which is not really mahjong, but that computer thing.
Right.
Uses ultimately a similar
the same
system.
thing. But as you said, that's not mahjong. So I'd like to know where that came from, because it's a really cool mechanic.
Right. I like to see this used in more games. Actually,
Yeah.
I really
I'm
like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm very glad that this used it, and it used it, I think, very, very well.
Right. I mean, my favorite thing in it, though, and there are a few little things that really do add up to a package that's greater than its parts, is the fact that you can win the game 3 ways. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah. So you steal all my thunder here, but yes. I was going to say that the drafting was one of the 2 things I really liked. The other is that 3 different victory thing. Because, yes, you're getting points just like the regular game, but science can win you the game outright.
Right.
And as actually it does in Seven Wonders if you let the other person go unchecked.
Yes. Same thing
So
with military.
it's really the same thing. Yeah, same. Well, military and Seven Wonders, I don't think you could ever win with it.
No, well, you cannot. I mean, I get what you're saying, where you can win with science if you get
You can
all of
really
them. That's
win
a
with
lot of
science.
scoring.
Yeah.
But in this game, that science and the military really are both simpler to score at the end if it comes to that, and a bigger threat, because the game can just end. I don't care how much better you're doing than me. I can just win.
Right.
Same thing with military. I think that's really cool. I also love the way that they've brought those sort of bonuses into the game where, you know, sometimes your science doesn't quite go your way, so instead of trying to go for all 6 of those symbols, you just go, I'm going to double up and get a bonus.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I love that that's how you get those. You
Yeah.
know, it's almost like I went for science, but it didn't quite make it, so guess what? I'm just going to kill you with all these awesome powers that I
Yeah.
can take.
My problem with the whole idea of highlighting the fact that you can win 3 ways, I think 2 of those 3 ways are less likely than the third.
Yeah,
I
but
think science and military are almost perfect storm winning capabilities where you have to have the cards come up correctly, and if they don't come up correctly, you have very little chance of winning with science or with military. Whereas I think the point strategy will be, I think, and again, we haven't played it enough, at least I haven't, to figure out all the statistics and all of that, but I would imagine that straight point victories will win more often than science or military even put together.
No, I don't argue that, although I've seen the game won with both military and science. I'm saying that because there's 3 ways to win, you cannot just sit there and I'm going to be as efficient as possible.
Right.
You will sit there and go, oh, I really want that 8-point card, but I have to take military because if I don't,
you
Z
have-
is going to win.
You have to keep your eye on what your opponent is doing.
Right, and I really like that.
No, I do too,
like that
yeah.
there's that end run type thing in the game, and I always try for the military victory anyway. But
Right.
and if you start focusing on that, your opponent gets all jittery, and they have to kind of fight back on that, which then lets you get more point cards. I think it balances out, unless you tried for the military to the exclusion of everything else. I played games where I've tried military science. That's it.
Right.
Forget everything else. I'm going to win one of those 2 ways.
I mean,
You better watch it.
even if you don't win that way, even if you don't, burst the balloon that way, you still hurt your opponent for a bunch of money,
Yeah.
and you still are going to get possibly 10 victory points out of that. If you did the sciences, you probably got bonuses from that. I mean, it's not an all or nothing, really. Yeah. Even if you don't win with those strategies, you do get something. You've depleted your opponent of money, which is a big deal in this game, and you're getting victory points from that. And it's a viable thing to pursue. It just comes with the built-in threat of, by the way, I might win before you score.
Right.
So overall, what'd you think?
No, I think this is a huge bonus to the Seven Wonders universe, system, whatever you want to call it, family. Do I like it better than regular Seven Wonders? Well, there is always the caveat that I can play Seven Wonders with multiple people.
Right.
But you cannot play with multiple people with this. So, is it worth adding to my collection if I already have Seven Wonders? Absolutely. Does this replace Seven Wonders? No. So, with me, I'm going to give it 2 Roman shields up.
Yeah.
Cool. I am fascinated by this game. I think it's an amazing 2-player game. I'm not sure I understand it. I just don't think there's much to the Seven Wonders comparison. Ultimately, I mean, they share a theme,
Right.
and they are attempting to sell you this game, and so it says Seven Wonders, and it uses the same artwork and some similar concepts. But that's it. This is its own beast, and I think it's an extremely well put together game. It is tense all the way through. It is just really solid. This is, no question at this point, in the running for my 10 best games of the year.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give it 2 statues of, I don't know, Zeus, somebody? Up.
Depends what area you're in.
Yeah.
All right, for me,
Why not?
you know, when we talk about Seven Wonders, this is what I play with 2 players. I'm not playing those weird 2-player variant for Seven Wonders. I'll play this.
Yeah.
And I just really like this. As a 2-player game, I mean, this box here seems small. There's a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah, there is.
The game takes only 30 minutes. It's very easy, but at the same time, the whole time you feel like you're playing, I'm sitting here wondering, should I take a card? Because if I take that card, Z will take that card, which means I can get that one. And you're trying to do a little bit of forward planning, and at the same time, you're like, I wonder what's underneath. What are those cards face down? So there's that luck, too. And then there's the wonders. You know, building those wonders is a big deal. When's the best time to build them? Sometimes it's better to hold off and build them later. There's just a lot of great decisions. There's a lot of 2-player games in this box size. I call them the Cosmos games, although they're not. This one's, but it has that same feel. This is one of the best. It's replacing one of the other ones in my collection because I like it that much. Seven Wonders Duels, 2 spears up from me.
Cool.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.